Hello, everyone. This is Tori by myself in the editing room here. I just wanted to go ahead and get on here and let everybody know that we're putting this disclaimer in the beginning of both of our Beatles episodes. This is basically an apology for how long it has taken for us to release these episodes. And the reality of it is that we have officially gotten to a point in the history of the music that we're going over that we are running into copyright issues due to the way that we record this, because we're giving you guys samples of what we're talking about, right? So we're actually playing bits of the song within the episode. And I guess, as far as I can tell, we're pretty much going to have to just kind of stop doing that. We are going to maintain our playlists on Spotify and on YouTube for all of the music that we talk about in these episodes, but we're no longer going to be able to actually play samples of these songs throughout the episode. It's just going to be easier like that. And yeah, I guess that's it. So these two Beatles episodes, there might be a couple of spots that it's a little bit awkward because they've already been recorded. So when we go into a sample and then come back out of it might seem a little bit awkward. And this is why we have to take those samples out in order to keep the episode up. So without further ado, here is The Beatles, part 1 and or 2.
Welcome back to What You Didn't Know. This is the second part to our Beatles episode. So in the first part, we went over how they started, how they got together, and we mentioned that they started releasing music that could actually be noticed by more than just locals. And I'm going to tell you guys the story of how they came to the United States. And it's a very interesting story on how they came to the United States, because it was kind of a just right timing, right moment that kind of built them to be as large as they were. So as I mentioned, the Beatles finally released something that was able to be noticed by more than just local venues. They finally released their first single, and they're out there. They're able to get on the radio. And so that played a very integral part of bringing them to the United States. So the Beatles did an interview with CBS, their local CBS chapter. And that interview got aired in the United States. But their U.S. fame was born out of tragedy.
How interesting.
The original airing of the interview happened the morning of November 22nd, 1963. Do you know what else happened that day? The assassination of former president John F. Kennedy. So the report ran that morning. It was supposed to run again that evening, but because of the tragedy of the assassination of the president, they decided not to air that.
Yeah, it was deemed less important for obvious reasons.
Obviously. And okay, well, it aired that morning. But who watches morning news? I mean, not a lot of people watch morning news.
Fuddy-duddies and so-and-so.
So you've got a different crowd for the evening news than you do for the morning news. So, after being preempted for the re-airing of the interview that evening, on December 10th of the same year, Walter Cronkite decided to re-air that report on the CBS Evening News. Ed Sullivan was watching that report.
Indeed.
And he immediately, after the report aired, called CBS Studios and said, "Get me the Beatles. I want them on my show."
Now, any of you genuine rock and roll fans out there know of this performance?
Yes.
Well, I shouldn't say genuine rock and roll fan. Any of you?
Anybody, really. I mean,
Yeah,
before
no,
I was
for sure.
even a huge fan of the Beatles, I knew of this performance.
Right. I mean,
And it's such an iconic performance.
it really is. It really is.
And I laugh every time I see it because the drummer, his setup was just, he's 6 feet in the air. he's literally sitting above the other three.
Yeah, like fully.
On a very simple kit as well.
Mm-hmm. It's what we would call today a trap kit.
Okay.
Super basic. Very jazz.
Yeah.
Very jazz.
So he's got the kick drum.
1 or 2 toms, maybe, and a snare, couple of cymbals.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't remember the whole. It was such a small setup, and then they put him up on this platform,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, I get you're trying to get the whole band noticed. I get that you're trying to make sure everybody can see
Everybody.
everybody.
Yeah.
But to put the drummer 6 feet in the air,
Well,
just looks,
it does. It does.
It
And
looks hilarious
because
to
it's
me.
such a simple setup. It doesn't seem necessary. Like if you think about like another big band modern concerts, say from the 80s, 90s, early 2000s, you will typically see drummers 6, 10,
Lifted.
12 feet above the stage, but the stage is much more
platforms,
complex.
right?
Yeah, there's a lot more going on.
It's part of a large platform.
Yeah.
This guy looked like he was sitting on top of a cake topper.
Yeah, just in the middle of just out of for no reason. It absolutely they could have gotten away with 6 inches.
Yeah.
But
So-
damn it, he needed to be seen.
And so we're gonna play you a sample from that show in just a second. But so the Beatles' appearance on the Ed Sullivan Show was their first performance on live American television.
Boom.
And so when they flew to the US from the UK, when they left the UK, there was thousands, hundreds of thousands of screaming women.
Well, I don't know about hundreds of thousands.
There was
Tens of thousands.
there was a lot.
It was a lot.
It was a lot.
A big crowd.
And when they arrived in the US, they were greeted with thousands of
Yes,
screaming
yeah.
women.
Like we didn't even go anywhere.
They're immediately shuffled off to a hotel and then to the show, get ready for the show,
Genuinely blown away. They had no idea.
And that's, I'm a huge fan of Doctor Who. And obviously, that's a much more modern show.
Right. Well,
And
the modern part of it.
the
is
modern part of the
yeah.
show, yes. So they knew that they had a American audience.
Mhm.
They didn't realize how big their audience was until they stepped off the plane to make an episode
In the States.
In the States. It was an episode where they needed a desert.
We got them.
Not really any deserts in the UK.
No, but we got one.
We got plenty.
Yeah.
So when they flew to the US and fans met them at the airport, they were blown away too. Like they're like,
Yeah, I mean, when you're in a totally different part of the world, like how can you anticipate what things are going to be?
right.
You
I
know?
mean, you know there's an audience, but you don't know what the audience is like.
Right.
You don't know
How dedicated they are,
Right.
how fanatical they may be.
how crazy they may be.
Right. You just never know.
So they played 5 songs in total, even though if you ask most people, they can name maybe 2.
Mhm.
But they played "She Loves You."
Right.
She loves you, yeah. I Want to Hold Your Hand.
I want to hold hold your hand.
And they played this live to 728 individuals in
the
studio. And over 73 million watched on television. And that is a big number.
It's massive.
To begin with, that's a big number.
Right.
For the time, that
is a huge number.
Huge number, because not everybody had televisions in their home yet.
No, for sure. And even Ed Sullivan is the evening entertainment.
Yes, that was your evening show.
Yes, absolutely. So for you to end up on the Ed Sullivan show, just like that.
Invited by Ed Sullivan himself.
Right.
Not even like...
requested.
Yeah. Not even like their manager got them on the show.
No,
he was
out.
like, I want them.
Right. I want you. And at this point, even still today, but at this point, entertainment is one of America's greatest exports. So when you get on the biggest evening entertainment show on the country that exports the most entertainment on the planet, they became worldwide sensations because of this performance.
So when we talk about celebrities, the first thing that pops into your head, Hollywood, Los Angeles. So if you think about this, like even actors from other countries, artists from other countries, just people, like they get grouped as, oh, that's Hollywood.
Yeah.
That's part of Hollywood. The fact that Hollywood is just such an iconic name that if you say that, like you immediately you've got names in your head.
California Hills, you've got actors, you've got musicians. Just as soon as you hear Hollywood, yes,
right,
conjures the image.
That's why people come to the U.S. for fame and fortune, because they hear of Hollywood and they hear of the success.
Yeah.
So for them to be invited over,
who would say no?
Right. Like, hey, here's the fast track to Hollywood.
Mm.
So in this recording that we're going to play for you, this is a live recording from the show. And I want you to listen to all of the just high-pitched screaming before they even play a note.
Right.
It's mind-blowing that just them standing there, not touching an instrument yet, and these women are just screeching.
So you almost can't even hear the vocals.
Yeah.
Over the screams.
The screaming was just so loud. Like, think of a Taylor Swift concert. And that is what the fans for the Beatles were like.
For sure. I mean, just absolutely raging.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Now, I saw a hilarious video the other day, and it said parents in 1960s and how they viewed the Beatles. And it was the Beatles playing the Ed Sullivan Show, but the music was like Disturbed,
right?
Like hardcore, like that's how parents viewed it back then.
Yeah,
which is that's true. That's how every generation is. When the next
it's just
thing
noise
comes,
and it's
is they view it as, oh, this is terrible. This isn't my music.
Yeah,
this isn't what I grew up with. This is terrible. This is trash. This is garbage. My dad acted that way about my music. But when you stop and you find those connections between now and the past, you get a better understanding of how that sound developed.
There is a logical progression. There is definitely a logical...
Sometimes.
That's fair. Sometimes things
You've got some people that are just like, I have my own sound, and you're like, yeah, you sure do.
Yeah? Yeah, that's a fact.
Who inspired you? No one. I came out of this in my own head.
Right, that was playing this out of the womb.
That's very obvious. We acknowledge that.
Yeah, for sure. Of all the musicians I've met, you're one of them.
Yeah. I could make that correlation about the other night.
That was unfortunate. You know what? I got to give him props though. Singer had energy.
He had energy.
You know,
He did.
and they had enough gumption to get together and play music in front of people.
True.
You know,
I wish you guys had a bigger crowd.
you know, the funny thing is that like the entire crowd was there for us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I did appreciate Crystal Lady sticking around.
Yeah, for
Because
sure.
they could have loaded up during that 15-minute in between.
Well, and that's kind of an etiquette thing. Like usually
that first band, though, they were gone.
took right off.
They were
took
gone.
right off, and that's unfortunate. But that's an etiquette thing. Guys, if there's any musicians out here starting their journey, if you are playing a show with other local bands, if you're doing your original music, you know, you're not the one band for the bar for the night, always stick around for the other acts. It's polite. It shows support. It shows a dedication to the art. It's etiquette.
Last year, I went to go see my favorite band, Smile Be Soul. They were not the headliner that year. They were one of 3 opening bands, but they did play right before the headliner. I was there to see them, but out of respect for the other bands, 1, I showed up on time,
Right.
so that I could hear everyone, and 2, I stuck around for some of the headliner.
For sure.
When things started winding down, you know, I took off, but I stuck around long enough to be like, hey, like, this is your show.
Right. You know,
I'm not just here for one thing and then I'm dipping.
right. And see, for the audience members to dip out after the band that they're specifically there to see is a totally different situation than for one of the bands on the docket to
Right.
dip out before the end of the show.
In a lot of places, like, you don't have time to get your gear.
No, for sure. Not completely off. Like if you're playing a local show at a smaller venue, you've got enough time to get your gear from
Off
the
the
setup
stage,
area
yeah.
to the stage, and then enough time to get it from the stage to the setup area.
Right.
And that's it. You got to
Yeah.
get out of the way, you know, so the next band can do their thing. But sometimes, you know, you just take your stuff straight out and take off. And like, there are some situations, like if you've got other obligations, you have another show that you're going to, or you have to be at an interview or something like that after
Yeah.
your performance. That's one thing. But if you're just leaving just to leave,
Yeah.
like that's rude.
Yeah.
It's rude. You know,
Like, oh, we
you
played
all
our
are there.
set.
Right. Like this performance, this whole show is a cooperative performance.
Right.
You know, so be there. If you're a
get that.
musician, stick around. That's all I'm saying.
So, like we were saying earlier in the last episode, them coming to the United States and their performance on the Ed Sullivan Show is what kicked off what is known as Beatlemania.
Yes.
They went on tour throughout the whole United States, basically. I mean, they were all over the place. And it was just night after night. You know, sometimes there was breaks, but not very often. Physically, it was a very short period of time. But for them,
It was a very demanding period of
long.
time.
It felt long for
Right.
them, I'm sure. And after all that's settled, after they're done with the tour in the U.S., they went back home. They even had, like, the press even said, like, what are you guys doing after the tour? And they're like, going home.
Yeah,
like we're not moving to the U.S.
no,
Which
not yet.
Yeah, some of them did end up living in the U.S. But
Well, and again, that comes down to Hollywood,
Right.
Los Angeles.
Right.
You know, when when you're a musician and you're a world-renowned musician, you're probably stationed in the United States.
yeah,
More likely than not. It's not a rule,
no,
but
not at all.
it's very, very common.
But so after this whole tour, and at this point, I think they've put out a couple of albums.
By the Ed Sullivan Show?
By the end of the tour.
By the end of the tour? Well, yeah, I
think they took a break at one point and like to record somewhere.
Probably.
So they've put out at least an album.
Right.
Maybe more. They flew home and they went into recluse.
They did.
They said, hey, we're going to take a break from the public eye for a minute and we're going to focus on our music.
And ourselves.
And that is what started the psychedelic era of the Beatles, was them focusing on like, hey, man, like that was a lot of fun, but that was a lot of work. Let's just chill. Like, let's just be in the moment. And, you got your own personal yogi.
Yeah, right. When you travel to India and practice meditation and
and when you discover new sounds and
I think it was either Lennon or Harrison became more or less obsessed with the sound of a sitar, and it got very heavily used throughout like Sgt. Pepper's and the Yellow Submarine and a little bit after that Magical Mystery Tour. And here's the perfect example of the sound of this time in their career. This is Strawberry Fields Forever. So like that one specifically doesn't have a whole lot of sitar in it. You can kind of hear it just vaguely in the background.
But you can hear the psychedelia in that song.
It is
like
such a far cry from, for instance, I Want to Hold Your Hand.
Right.
It's so different.
It's such a chill song.
It is. It's extremely relaxed. And that kind of goes to show the sort of the
new vibe.
Yeah. The from their soul searching and totally not drug fueled meditative habits. And that's just one of them.
Right.
That's just
a lot
one
out there.
example of their psychedelic
experience. So if you guys want something with just a lot of Beatles samples,
right,
check out the movie
Across the Universe. Or A Hard Day's Night, or Yellow Submarine.
Well, Hard Day's Night was their movie.
Yes.
It was about them.
Yes.
Across the Universe is like they took just all these Beatles songs and then made a story with it, and then just plugged them in along the way.
Yeah.
And it was so good. Like, I don't care for a lot of musicals.
Well, you're wrong.
That is one
I
will watch
for sure
over and over.
Well, and there's a newer one too. I forget what it's called. That's like the dude, everybody in the world forgets about who the Beatles are, so he starts playing Beatles songs and like becomes this biggest thing.
The Beatles actually were mentioned in a recent episode of Doctor Who. There was an episode where there's no music. Music is kind of banned.
Yeah.
And they run into the Beatles at Abbey Road recording. And they're like, oh my God, there's Paul, there's John. And they're like, they're here. Like, this is the day that they made the famous recording at Abbey Road Studio. And wait, why aren't they in the studio? Right. And then the whole thing is that there's a being that has restricted all music
in typical Doctor Who style.
Right. But I mean, that is how influential that band was, even for the short period of time that they were there, is that even 30, 40, 50. Yeah.
I mean,
decades later, you can still throw them in an episode of the most obscure television show, British television show.
Right.
And people are still going to go, oh, right. Like, oh my God, the Beatles.
Right. Like, can you imagine a world without the Beatles? Well, no, you probably can't.
No.
Just going to throw that out there.
That's why in this show, like, we are focused on influence. We're focused on who was influential. And even though they were around for such a short time, they were still an influence. They're still an influence today.
And they always will be.
Right.
I mean, well, as long as they're remembered, they will be, you know. It's crazy. Like we were talking, I don't know. I know that once they went home from their American tour,
Yeah.
and started focusing on themselves, staying out of the limelight for the most part, it was a 4-year period. And 4 years between with 64 and 67, the Beatles put out 7 albums.
That's a lot.
7 albums. And each one of these albums has upwards of 12 songs on it.
Yeah.
In 4 years. That is insane.
That's a lot of writing.
That is a lot of writing. That is a lot of collaboration. That is a shitload of time spent together.
And not just that, like, you need to have like a better understanding of they wrote their own stuff.
Yeah.
So a lot of modern artists, yes, they can throw out album after album after album, but
a lot of time
their
producer or their ghostwriter, you know.
Not all of them actually write their own stuff.
Right.
They purchase the rights to lyrics and then the rights to a beat.
Mm-hmm.
And they put stuff together and they go, oh, you know, we can make that sound like what we want.
For sure. Not all of them, of course.
Not all of them.
But there are a lot of people that have separate songwriters.
Right. They have a team of writers. So I saw a meme, and it was a comparison to Beyonce's All the Single Ladies and Queen's Bohemian Rhapsody.
Okay.
So Beyonce had several writers and one beat for that entire song.
Right.
And it was one of the most repetitive songs I've ever heard. I'm not dissing the song.
Sure.
But it is a repetitive, catchy song.
Right.
Bohemian Rhapsody was written by one person with like several different components of music. There's a whole breakdown in the middle of the song that has a entirely different rhythm to it than the rest of the song that it goes back to later on.
Right.
And it was written by one person, produced by one band. So, you know, like these older bands didn't necessarily have the ghostwriters or somebody to purchase material from.
Right.
They did all this themselves. So 7 albums.
That's incredible.
Like his brain had to just be filled with just words that he was just like
concepts.
And he even sings about
flowing.
like, I had this in my head and I had to write it down.
Mm-hmm.
I hope you don't mind that I wrote down in words, because it's, and I used to be the same way, and I wish I could go back to being that way, where I would start with a sentence or two that was just repeat itself in my head. Had nothing to do with anything. It was a sentence or two that would just repeat itself over and over and over and over and over in my head. And so finally I would grab a notebook, start writing those 2 sentences, and by the time I get halfway through that second sentence, the next sentence would form in my head, and then the next one, and the next one, and the next one. And like, next thing I know, I have a whole page
right
of just
whatever. Yeah.
Because my brain was just like, inspiration, write it down. And if I didn't write it down, it drove me insane.
And eventually it would just be gone.
Yeah.
You know?
And then I forget about it, and it's like, oh man, that was so good.
Right. And now you're being driven insane because you don't remember what it was.
I know.
You know,
and it's
like,
awful.
For sure. And that's the big thing too. Is that like, it's very, 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 very is not a good word for this. It's so very, like, writers, they don't just shit out fantastic material.
I started writing a book. I am a few pages in, and I can't. I lost it.
That's why I mean.
Like,
you can't just shit out good material.
I know where I want to go with it.
Right.
I know where I want the story to go. I could tell you the whole short story version of what I want this book to be.
Mhm.
But to put it down on paper anymore, it's kind of gone. And I'm just waiting for it to...
That spark.
Yeah, I'm waiting for that to come back.
Yeah. Well, see, and kind of like what I was getting at with that, I guess, is that for a general musician, for every song that a band releases, they have probably written 5 or 6.
Yeah.
You know, and just one of those 5 or 6 was good enough to make it as a single or to make it on the album.
Yeah.
So in 4 years, they wrote 7 albums. And if by that standard, if every album has 12 songs or whatever, you're looking at like for each album, they actually probably wrote closer to like 36, 48 songs, and 12 of them made the cut.
Right.
You know, so that this amount of production that's happening in these 4 years is absolutely insane.
So I want to try to translate this to today's abilities.
Right.
So artists can put out one song. It's not necessarily a single, but with today's technology, if you have a song that you're just really proud of and you can release it as just one song. You don't have to make an entire album to make a release. 7 albums. That's like an artist today releasing one song every couple
week.
Weeks. Yeah. Every week or a couple
4
weeks.
years. Yeah, every couple of weeks.
For 4 years. Just another song. Another song.
Mm-hmm.
Another song.
Mm-hmm.
Like that would flood the market in today's time.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Especially if they have the lift that the Beatles had.
Right.
You know, because it would be every week.
Imagine like you're still listening to last week's song and then get a notification.
There's a whole new one.
There's a whole new song.
Look at that. 7 days later, there's
another song.
Yeah.
Here's another song.
Yeah.
Now, would that, not make sense and actually, make more sense to save up as an album? Absolutely.
Yeah, sure.
But that's what we're trying to like get across to you is that 7 albums
is a lot.
Is a lot
work.
In 4 years.
Yes. It's
and
incredible.
That it wasn't even that they were under obligation.
No, they were just producing.
Yeah. Because I've learned from Moon on the morning show, on the Rizzuto show.
Right. Local 105.7 The Point.
I learned from him that when bands sign a record deal, that is not, here's $1 million.
No, that is a loan.
That is, here's $1 million to do X amount of songs, X amount of albums, X amount of appearances, this much. It's a broke down list of, we'll give you this money, but you need to complete this
all
list.
of these tasks. Yeah.
And a lot of bands, what they'll do is they want to pay that off and they want to complete that list as quick as possible.
Right.
So they'll put out 4 albums in 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, cool, you've met that requirement. Then they'll do a whole press tour. Okay, cool, you've met that requirement. They'll push their merch sales. Okay, cool, you've met that requirement. Okay, you've completed your list. You're no longer under our loan. You now receive all of the proceeds now you get to make your proceeds. You've paid off your loan that we gave you
with interest.
And and the faster they pay it off, the less interest they have to pay on it.
Mm-hmm. But
now they want to slow down.
Yeah.
And
they didn't.
That's what kills a lot of people is they go, okay, we got to ran our asses off for the last 3 years. Let's take a break. And then that break is what kills you.
Yeah. And that's just kind of the end of it.
But these guys, yes, they took a break publicly.
Right. But they were still working. And it's because it's something they loved. Yes.
It's something they love to do. It's something that just came to, it was such a natural thing for them.
It was. And I mean, all four of them were so just ridiculously gifted creators.
Absolutely.
You know, and the fact that they meshed so well for the time that they meshed so well was definitely a testament.
I wanted to pivot that direction. I like that. So what we mean by the time that they pivoted, that they meshed so well, eventually, when you spend a lot of time with people, you
relationships
can come up with
degrade.
Yeah, you can come up with some disagreements.
Yeah.
A few things that I read was that there was copious amounts of drug use other than
marijuana, LSD,
and
you know, ecstasy and all that.
There was other drugs that certain members were using more often, and it was affecting their performance.
Yeah.
That was a big one. Another big one was Paul acted like it was Paul McCartney and the Beatles.
For a time, yeah, for sure.
For a little bit there.
For sure.
There was interviews and stuff backing that up, that they felt that they were there, but they weren't.
For him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they weren't together.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different speculations and stuff. Also, John's relationship with Yoko Ono put a strain on
things for sure.
There's a lot of factors, and after 10 years of just
going hard,
balls to the wall,
constant.
In spring of 1970, the band formally signed a contract disbanding the Beatles. It was after the release of their final album, Let It Be, which is so poetic.
It really is.
That's a very poetic.
It really is.
Album. Like, and I almost imagined it was like, oh, they put out the song Let It Be, and people are like speculating, like, oh, I wonder what they're talking about. And then a couple months later, they're like, oh yeah, so like we broke up. And they're like, what? It's kind of what the song was about, y'all. Like, just let it go. Don't.
Mm-hmm. Just let it be.
Yeah.
Bygones be bygones.
But you can just hear it, that it was like.
It sounded like an end.
It did. It sounded like a closer.
A closing for a story, yeah.
Yeah. It sounds like the song you play at the end of the night.
At the end of the night, yeah. Yeah. And God damn it, is that beautiful.
It is. It's a very beautiful song.
It really is. The whole album's quite poetic, like you said.
Absolutely.
Now, I know that the individual members of the band went on to do other things after this. Like Paul McCartney formed Wings.
He actually wants to bring Wings back.
I would be okay with that.
After his performance on SNL, the 50th anniversary episode, he wants to bring Wings back.
You know, that's fair. They had some good music. John went on to release some songs with his wife Yoko. Ringo and George had somewhat less highlighted solo careers, but they both did some other things. Looks like in 1980, John Lennon was gunned down outside of his apartment building by a crazed fan.
And that is such a crazy story.
It really is.
So this dude camped out. So John and Yoko were leaving to go to a studio for a recording session.
Yeah.
And there's always fans like hanging out outside.
Right. And this, keep in mind, this apartment complex, I forget what it was called, but there were a lot of celebrities staying in these apartments.
And it was in New York.
Was it in New York?
Yes, because Yoko named a section of Central Park Strawberry Fields.
Oh, right.
In his memory.
Right. So yeah, this apartment complex in New York, there's always fans outside of this complex because it's filled with people who are well known.
So this guy gets an autograph from John.
Mm-hmm. On their way out.
That evening, this dude is still there and then approaches John and shoots him.
Mm-hmm. After this recording session.
After the recording session.
So he's there in the morning, just waiting for him to come out. He gets his autograph and sticks around for hours and decides to shoot him. Like, that's some kind of dedication.
It boggles my mind, though. Because, like, how do you get an autograph?
Right.
Because he wasn't, it was not even an attempt of an assassination that morning.
No, it's like like we said, he was actually a fan.
Uh-huh.
He was actually a fan. There's a
lot of conspiracy theories and speculations on why he did it. Was he hired to do it? That kind of stuff. We're not going to get into that.
No, for sure. If we decide we're going to start a conspiracy theories podcast, though,
right.
Check it out.
Right. But at the moment, so this gentleman just shoots him in cold blood. And John, you know what John's last words were? I'm shot.
I'm shot.
Yeah, that was his last words. I mean, I like to look up celebrities' last words. No, it's weird.
For sure. For sure.
That was his last words where I'm going to go poop.
Yeah. And what a poop it was.
Yeah. His last one ever.
Mm-hmm. Oh, there's a 50th anniversary Beatles t-shirt up there on the wall.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Not that any of you can see that.
The last songs featured by all four members. This was much later. This is mid 90s at this point. John's long dead.
Yes.
There's 3 remaining members.
Mm-hmm.
And there was 3 songs that John had written, not for him and Yoko, just written.
Just wrote songs.
And did a rough recording on a tape recorder on a piano in his living room. And Yoko went to Paul and George and said, "Hey, I've got these recordings. They need to be heard."
Right.
And so with the technology of 1995, they were able to, with John's voice, release Free as a Bird.
Right.
In 96, they were able to release Real Love. But the third song, the issue they had, I guess he put the tape recorder somewhere different, and the piano drowned out John.
Right.
And when they tried to run it through programs, it never worked.
Mm-hmm.
In the 90s, they didn't have the technology to take a mono recording and split the audio.
Right.
So that song kind of got lost for a long time until about, I want to say 2 years ago now.
Maybe. Most.
With the top secret technology of the money Paul McCartney could afford. No, so Paul did keep this a secret from everyone. He didn't want to get people's hopes up.
Right.
Was his reasoning. He's like, I wanted this to be done, but I didn't want people to get their hopes up and then it fall through.
Right.
So they ran that final recording through AI programs. Mm. This is not John's voice AI, okay?
No.
This is his voice. AI was just used to split his voice and the piano.
Right, to separate the vocal from the instrumental.
They were finally able to do that. Awesome. So now we've got voice, we've got piano. Let's add in the other vocals.
Right.
Well, George Harrison's not around anymore.
Right.
But they were able to take George's voice from when they tried, the last time they tried, they were able to mesh it in because in the 90s, they'd already tried this song once.
Right. So his vocal track was there.
Right. They still had his vocal track. So they plugged that in. Then Paul redid his And he called Ringo in to redo the drums.
Right.
And then he goes, this song's missing something. It needs a symphony. It needs some violins and just string instruments.
It needs to be more epic.
And so he called these people in, and he told them that this was just a solo project he was working on. They didn't hear the rest of it. They didn't get to hear anything else.
Right.
They were given the music and told this is a solo Paul McCartney project because he wanted to keep this on the DL.
Yeah.
And then it all came together just beautifully.
It did indeed.
It was just so inspiring for me, someone who in 96 I was 5 years old. Okay. Like,
right.
I didn't grow up listening to the Beatles. I didn't grow up in their era. So to hear a song that is newly released, all 4 members, like, what a time to be alive.
For sure.
Like, I feel like he wrote that to Yoko, but she felt it was more to the other members.
You know, I wouldn't be too surprised. It does sound like it could have been written for Yoko, but given that John wasn't around to put his perspective into view,
right,
she would have perceived it as being for his past relationships.
Yeah.
You know, and like, of course, obviously, at the point that song was written, who knows, somewhere in the 70s.
Yeah.
She knew his intentions on what he was doing, what he was creating better than anybody else would have.
And just that, and now and then, if we must start again, like right there, like that line alone feels like it's aimed at the other band members.
Right. Like if
like,
we,
hey, we're still friends.
Right. If we have to rebuild these relationships, let's.
Yeah.
You know.
Like Blink-182, when they came back. So they came back, it was like 2000, I want to say 18, 19. They came back with a different lead singer.
Right.
And people are excited, but then other diehard fans were like, this isn't Blink.
Why would you do that? Yeah.
This isn't Blink. Yeah. That's not Tom.
Right.
Well, then when Tom did come back, they released a song. I can't remember the name of it, but it was about like, why do we wait for tragedy to happen to reach out to each other?
Right.
You know, and then he mentions like the different tragedies that have happened to each of the band members. So I agree. I agree that she probably heard that and was like,
he's talking to his friends.
He's talking to his friends.
Yeah.
And
that's
so
fully
like,
valid.
Like that song tears me up. Like, I'm not going to lie. That song tears me up.
Man. And like you said, that's not an AI reconstruction of his voice. That is him.
Right.
You know, it took a long time for our technology to be able to get to the point of separating it from its original recording, but that is his voice.
By the way, Ringo is making a comeback as well.
Oh, really?
So he had a special on CBS doing country music.
I had heard about that.
So I guess when he went solo, he released an album that was kind of country, which is really weird for me. when people come from other countries and they go, "We're going to sing country music," and it's like, what do you know about country music? Like,
I mean,
okay, today's country is a little different, but then,
well, yeah, it's today's country is not country. That's another discussion,
right?
But I mean, I don't know. Having an interest in American music is commonplace,
right?
Has been for a long time,
obviously,
right? But I feel you.
Yeah,
it is strange to think
strange.
About this country artist is from Britain.
Keith Urban
is Australian, isn't he? Like, you know, so it's strange to think about. You're absolutely right.
But yeah, so it was Ringo and Friends at the Ryman in Nashville, Tennessee. And I would have loved to have gone to the show.
Sure.
The live show.
Sure.
The television broadcast was more like, here's a song, and then before the song ends, we're going to cut to an interview.
Right. Yeah.
Here's another song, and before that song ends, we're going to cut to another interview.
Yeah, for sure, man. That's what I hate about televised concerts nowadays.
Yes.
You know, like there was a time, you know, we'll say in the mid to late 80s, like one of the performances of Alice Cooper's Welcome to My Nightmare Tour, the first Nightmare Tour.
Yeah.
Like there was a televised version of that was just, it was the concert on TV.
Right.
Like, but we can't do that anymore. That's
no,
not okay.
we have to
acceptable.
We have to interrupt with talking to this person and then talking to this person about that person.
Mm-hmm. And then 15 minutes of toilet paper advertisements.
Yeah.
And then we'll come back for
commercials
for another
bills.
And then, yeah, for sure. And then we'll come back for another half a song and talk to somebody else about it.
Yeah.
You know, it's like almost as bad as paying $300 a piece for cheap Rolling Stones tickets. Like,
yeah.
Entertainment, man. It's sick. It's disgusting.
There's a lot of bands that refuse to go through common channels for concert tickets because of that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I know there's like, if anybody not from the United States is following anything that's happening in the United States, there have been some sanctions put forth against Ticketmaster, I think.
Yes,
because of their outrageous fees.
Because so you'll see if you go on Ticketmaster for any concert, I don't care what concert, you'll see tickets are $65.
Yeah,
$65 for lawn tickets.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then you've got a fee, then you've got a tax, and you got another fee, and you got another tax, and then by the end of it, you're paying $80 a ticket
or more
for a $65 lawn seat.
Yeah, because their fees end up being 50%, 60%, 75% of the total cost of the ticket itself. Like you're easily paying double just because Ticketmaster can.
Right. And before somebody says, well, you know, you could go to StubHub. StubHub is good. Sometimes people purchase concert tickets, and if you check StubHub like the day of, plans change and they want to get rid of their tickets.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. That's fine. If you want to wait to the last minute and try to get tickets, sure. But there's also a lot of fake tickets on StubHub.
That is also a fact, yes.
So gamble. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a gamble.
Mm-hmm. Well, and another big deal is all the scalping.
Yes.
You know, people will go in and buy massive blocks of tickets specifically for the intent to resell.
Oh yeah. Go on Ticketmaster. It'll show you like what's available, and you'll see like whole sections are just already gone, and you're like,
they just went on sale an hour ago.
Yeah,
you know,
and just tickets don't go that fast on pre-sale.
No, no, for
People
sure.
don't buy up that many tickets in pre-sale,
right? And that's a big thing too. That like people get all excited when they see that an artist's show somewhere has sold out in an inordinately short amount of time. It's probably because
scalpers,
2 or 3 or 4 people bought all of them.
You know what's worse than scalpers? Uber drivers.
Oh?
So I went to go see Queen with Adam Lambert in Nashville, Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
So there are certain demographics of people. They'll get an Uber account, but then they travel with these shows to all these cities, and they flood the market with Ubers. So the people that normally Uber that area are knocked down the list.
Right.
So then you've got people that don't know the area trying to maneuver this traffic.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I ran into on the way to the show.
Awesome.
He almost killed us twice, and we weren't even out of the neighborhood. First, he almost hit a deer. Then he couldn't figure out the difference between a left turn lane and a right turn lane. He tried to go down the middle. We were terrified.
This guy, it's not so much that this guy doesn't know how to drive in Nashville. He doesn't know how to drive.
Yeah. Like the deer was past the car. Had already gone past the car. Then he slammed on the brakes.
Cool.
And I was like, you're going to kill us.
Cat-like reflexes, man. You got a straight up feline.
Okay, if anybody's listening that is in charge of concert arrangements,
Promotions.
the outdoor arrangements.
Okay, yeah.
Come up with a specific spot, a designated spot for pickups,
For sure.
for Lyfts and Ubers and taxis,
For
whatever.
sure.
Have a designated spot for just those, and it makes life a lot simpler.
Oh, yeah.
So I was part of a large group of people. We were sitting across the street from the stadium in front of the Country Music Hall of Fame, waiting for an Uber, but Uber couldn't get within 3 blocks of the stadium. They blocked off 3 blocks. So all of Broadway is nothing but foot traffic.
Yeah.
There's no cars getting through there. We had to walk 2.5 blocks over to a hotel and have an Uber meet us in the middle of the road. And thankfully that was a local.
Right. Right. Yeah. For
So
sure.
she's like, where are you at? And I said, I see this sign, I see this building, I see this street. And she goes, I know exactly where you are. If you run across the road, I am sitting right there. And she flashed her headlights, ran over there. She goes, all right, where are you guys staying? She looked at the address for the Airbnb. She goes, I know a faster way than what this thing is going to take me. Boom, got us back.
For sure. You know, and I understand that you should have a dedicated pickup location.
Yes.
The logistics, though, need some work because especially when it comes to rideshare like Uber,
Yeah.
you know, how can whoever's enforcing traffic
Well, I mean, even
like
if you, so,
confirm that this person is going there to pick somebody up?
but even if you had because you would force them to pull to the curb is what I'm talking about, is like have a designated section of the curb, have like a pickup line for
in and out
for schools.
Okay, yeah. So like not even 5-minute parking.
Right.
Yeah.
Like you pull up in line and then there's you're going to have, this section and then you can get out. And that's
Right.
it. That's all you've got room for. So you pull up, park, your people get in, you take off.
Right. Absolutely.
I'm just saying, 'cause-
no, you're absolutely right.
I've heard of that in St. Louis. Like it works is what I've heard. Like it just works so much better because then you walk up, you can see on your phone the description of the vehicle, description of the driver.
Right.
So you can see what vehicle you're supposed to go to and you just go to that vehicle. But when you've got to walk blocks away, so now you've got local traffic plus concert traffic, plus you've got Uber drivers like trying to find their people.
Right.
It's a bigger headache.
It is. It's kind of a nightmare.
So
And
That's-
potentially very dangerous.
yeah, especially when you're not used to the city.
Right.
You're in a city that you're unfamiliar with. Like St. Louis, I know how to cross a road in St. Louis. Like I know,
yeah.
I know how the idiots are around here.
Right. But I don't know how the idiots are in Chicago.
Right.
You know,
Right.
I don't know how the idiots are in Nashville.
Right.
You know, I know my idiots.
Right.
I don't know your idiots.
Now, the funniest thing, I went to Wisconsin one year and I saw Illinois plates and the person I was there visiting was like, Illinois drivers. And I was like, what? You guys hate Illinois drivers too? They're like, they're the worst. And I'm like, the funniest thing is that Illinois drivers are required to take driver's ed.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're terrible.
Yeah. They're yeah.
So anyways, that is what you didn't know about the Beatles and everything else we bitched about.
Part 2.
Part 2. But again, the Beatles had a short career compared to
Many acts.
other
Yes.
bands, but they were an icon. They were rock gods. And
Essentially, yes.
when we say rock gods, again, I know I've said this before, we're not talking about, oh, they're immortal. No. Their music, their inspiration lives on.
Through immortality, potentially.
Yes.
You know, classics. Classics
still
are
human.
classics for a reason. You know, and the Beatles were masters of producing classics.
I agree.
Until next time, y'all.
Until next time.
This has been a High Life Media production in accordance with Dragon Inn Studios. Thank you for listening.